Hello guys, I really encourage you to listen to my Fluent podcast.
Hello language enthusiasts, it's me, Daniel Goodson, the English learner. If you want to become more fluent in any language, this is the right place.
Zachęcam Was bardzo serdecznie do słuchania podcastu Daniela Goodsona.
This was spoken by Piotr from Poland. Thank you so much. I interviewed him on episode 19, and this is episode 20. I struggle a lot with different languages as French or English, and on my Fluent podcast I try to convey all my experience to you. Once again, this episode is going to be kind of an experimental episode, so buckle up. I'm not quite sure if you are going to appreciate, but if I don't try, I will never know. And the very most important thing in this episode is just as simple as that. Don't compare yourself to others. Again, don't compare yourself when it comes to learn a language. It's not good. There was an anecdote competition going on Luke's English podcast. As the name is indicating, it's a podcast basically for English learners. All his listeners were meant to send in their anecdotes, a simple story from your life which had a substantial impact on you. And there was a whole catalogue of rules you had to follow, and one of them was you are not allowed to read out loud or to read from a paper. You were meant to speak freely. That would give you the possibility to increase your skills, obviously. So all he was doing was encouraging English learners to talk, to be engaged, and therefore to increase their language skills. Me, myself, I participated as well, and I was quite unsure in the beginning if I shall really send in my anecdote, because I was not happy about my anecdote. I found it was too bad and I had some issues expressing myself. So finally I've sent it in, but then came the bummer, as he published all of the 53 anecdotes of the different language learners from all over the world. I started to listen to one of them or one after the other, and I directly compared myself to the others. And there were many very good speakers. They grew up over there in an English speaking country, or they were on a language exchange program. In any case, they had almost a native accent, or at least for me, they had a pretty good accent. I compared myself and I felt bad. I felt really bad because I thought that my anecdote was a mess. And I wrote that in a comment over there on Luke's English podcast. I mean, on the website of him. And I got many responses, and probably I should read it out loud now, because that way I can practice my reading skills, probably. So let's have a look at episode 387. Let's scroll down. Yeah, that was 3 days ago, where I wrote, I don't know if it was such a good idea to participate. Now that I am listening to all the others, I think I did not such a good job. There are many speakers who, in my opinion, are speaking almost like a native. I am just wondering how they did. I wish I could speak like them. And then I got many replies, as for example from the host himself, from Luke Thompson. He wrote, "Don't compare yourself to others, Daniel. You did really well, and of course it was a good idea to take part in the competition. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain." Yeah, I absolutely agree with him, but in the first second where I was listening, I did compare myself, and I fall into the trap of comparing myself. It's never a good idea to compare yourself when it comes to learning a language, because there are always many other people who are better speakers than you, and there is no reason to compare yourself. That is just counterproductive. I mean, there was another fellow called Stanek, and he wrote, I agree. I think there are a lot of listeners with native-like accents. It almost feels unfair to me. I think they either picked it up very young, they are bilingual, living in the target language country for ages, or just extremely talented. Either way, I should stop comparing myself to other learners. It is unhealthy. And there was Natalia, who participated as well in the competition, and she wrote, Hi Daniel, I've got the same reflection as you comparing my entry to other ones. So apparently I am not the only one who is comparing himself with other learners. So I recommend you, honestly, don't compare yourself with others. And I should re-listen to my own episode because it concerns me as well. I am struggling with that, and it's quite an issue. So what I am basically trying to say is just focus on your own language journey, and that will do the trick. Believe me on that. Just grab a microphone and start out podcasting. Nah, I'm just kidding. And here comes a comment from a guy called Ptolemy, and that one cheered me up quite a bit. But you must know that there are a lot of Labster are the listeners of the Luke's English podcast, who are very good. And it is great what you have done, so don't be too hard with yourself. At least I know that we are 56 people who dare to participate compared to more than 20,000 that are listening this podcast. So you are famous all around the world from now on, and you did well, Daniel. So I don't think that I am famous now, but I agree that at least I participated and I tried. So if you guys want to improve your speech, you could train or you could exercise yourself by telling an anecdote. I mean, you could record yourself, re-listen to it, and then try to do it again, the second time with improved pronunciation or intonation. And you'll see that in a really short period of time, your speaking skills will boost to the next level. That works for every language you are learning. So that's basically it for today. Dear listeners, you did not sleep in while listening to an English learner, and I want to thank you very much for that, and hopefully you will tune in again. I am Daniel Goodson, the host of My Fluent Podcast. Have a good one! I have a small request. Maybe one of you wants to help me out by reading some sentences for future projects on My Fluent Podcast. If so, please get into contact with me. My email address is myfluentpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks.